would you believe it? We have another DJI FLY update. How many can we need? Well, it seems to be one a week is what DJI think. This is 1.6.9 for the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I'm testing it today, and just look how many we've had over this last week. We've literally had one a week. The last one was this huge update which brought loads of different features to this drone, especially in vertical mode. But there was a few bugs from some people saying that they weren't happy with the performance of it. Testing this new one today in pretty bad wind conditions. Please note though, this 1.6.9, I am testing this on the Mini 3 with the controller. So on my phone, on the iPhone, 1.6.9 is available. That's what I'm testing it on. And it's probably a good thing. I am not testing it on the RC because it's simply not available yet. It probably will be in the next 24 to 48 hours. However, you might not want to update. Okay, so let's get into the video now. So before we set off, I've got my ND filters on today. It's pretty crappy weather conditions, but I always use ND filters now. I've got these really excited and loving these polarizing filters for this Mini 3 Pro. Let's get going and look at this motion blur. That motion blur, even in awful conditions like this, looks nice, doesn't it? So let's get going. So cine mode first. Let's test out some of these features. How is this Fly app working? In cine mode, it's working nice. All the sports mode we've just done, cine mode and normal, everything relating to this app so far, straight to the punch, is nice and stable. About the zoom, so you can see this little hole here. This is like some abandoned boat, and you can just about make out the water, which is like inside of the boat. As we zoom in 4K up to 2 times, we can switch it to 2.7K. You've got 3 times zoom here. It's digital zoom, so I wouldn't really use a 1080p zoom. It's going to have a lot of noise. Don't do that. What about straight flying? I always test this out on any Fly updates. You want, when you're flying your drone, is it straight? Is it any drifting? And it is windy. Remember how windy it was today. And just look at just how straight this is. A little bit of wobbling around, but we can handle that, can't we? That's good. Right, obstacle avoidance is going to be a key point of this whole video. Let's turn the obstacle avoidance on. Now, as we fly towards this boat, this is in 4K 25, and you can see it avoids it, but in quite a aggressive sort of way. There was no slowing down there whatsoever. Look again, it does swerve past the boats, but it doesn't slow down like it used to. It was quite a Mavic 3 type of aggression there. Let's switch it into 4K 60. It's now got the ability to avoid objects in 4K 60 since the last update. As I fly towards this boat now, it just doesn't do anything. It was only me that prevented it stopping. It did no slowing down. But look here, it's now slowing down and it's just beeping now, but it's not avoiding it. It's not bypassing it. That moody teenager stamping its feet is back. It's not doing anything. Let's come back to this in a minute. Let's look at master shots. So master shots from the last update, a few people were saying it wasn't working. Mine was, but this hopefully addresses that. We've still only got 4K 30. Master shots is all right, isn't it? I enjoy doing it now. It's quite good. I don't really like the video it produces, but I like to use all the shots it does for you, and then you make your own video from that. So master shots is cool, isn't it? Just use the videos it creates for you and then make your own edits, and I find the results are a lot better. Let's look at photos. Select JPEG and RAW, and let's look at some photos here in these abandoned boats. So we've got JPEG, and then I've used the RAW with my own presets, and then just you can get some really good shots. Just make sure you use the composition and then just mess around, and with RAW you're going to be able to get a lot more details from your photos because they're going to be bigger files, but you can mess around with the colors completely. So this video is sponsored by me. So my presets are currently on offer, 35% off, 12 presets for Lightroom. You can work on Lightroom normal and mobile, so you don't need to have the paid version, and they work on any camera. It's what I use on every single photo, every thumbnail. If you want to check them out in the description below. Let's get back to the video. Focus track. Let's look at focus track. So I love focus track with spotlight. So you can drag a box around something and then it basically keeps it centered in the frame. So all you have to do is move the controller sticks, and there's no lag, there's no problems with this. It works great. And then from the last update we had, we can now use this in vertical mode as well. So again, you don't have to be a fantastic flyer. It does all the camera movements for you, and all you've literally got to do is just press left, right, up or down on that right stick. It's fantastic and it works great. Active Track is a brilliant feature on here. Everybody loves this, including me, and this works great as well. So it's good to see on this Fly update there is no issues with this. So trace, parallel, in parallel you're going to get that message, but it still works. That just is there as kind of like a prompt to say, look, be careful, there's no sideways sensors. So if you get that message saying sideways flight, disable, etc., that's just a warning message. But in trace and parallel, this works brilliantly. Now, if we could have the Active Track from the Mavic 3, that wheel where you can set the orientation, that would be awesome. I would love that. Are we going to get it? Oh, heck. But it works great, and it works in both vertical and horizontal mode, so go mess around with them. And Spotlight through Active Track is awesome on a person as well, being able to track you. So I noticed here an abandoned wheelchair, which I was going to use for some obstacle avoidance tests until I realized it was chained up to a tree. It's weird the things you find when you're walking around. But let's look at this obstacle avoidance again. So 4K 25, I've got bypass set, and I'm just going to use this kind of tree bush here. As I'm flying towards it, it will then avoid the bush, go around it, and then continue on its way, as it should. However, now let's just do something. Let's switch this into 4K 60, and let's do the same test. So we're going to fly towards it. It's in cine mode, I'm going fast here, and as we fly towards it, it does nothing. It just stops. It doesn't bypass, it just brakes. If I just back up and I'll go again, it won't do anything. However, if I change it back to 4K 25, so 4K 60 back to 4K 25, boom, away it goes. It avoids it and away off it into the distance. Let's try it here. So 4K 60, another little bush here. This is not a really hard thing to do to get past, is it at all? And it just stops. It will not move. What about this weird person here? Let's fly towards them. What's it going to do? Is it going to bypass this person? No, it just stops. It just doesn't do anything. It brakes. It will not move in 4K 60, 48 or 50 FPS. But let's remember on the last update we had, in bypass mode on 4K 60, which I showed you a couple of videos back, it would bypass anything. It worked here on this one, and then also on a large tower, it also flew right towards it, and then look, straight past. It's like we've gone back a step. Please, let's add this back. This is a great feature, be able to bypass. If you're in 4K 60, why is it gone? It doesn't make any sense. And I checked in the settings to see if there was an option to maybe enable that, and there wasn't. So regards to the settings, everything is the same as it was before. Just check your altitude and your distance is all as it should be in relating to your advanced safety settings. Everything in the settings I'm just going to fly through because it's exactly the same as it was before. Make sure your controls all set up, follow mode, not FPV mode unless you're going to have really wobbly footage. Your advanced gimbal settings, just go through and make sure it's all correct. So what do I think about this? Well, as a performance side of it, yeah, everything's working great. I just like to have that 4K 60 bypass. We can't use 4K 60 in Active Track, but it was good to have it. Just when you're flying, it would bypass something, not just completely stop. We got that feature, and for some reason it's gone away. So hopefully we get that back again. And for that reason, even if 1.6.9 comes on the RC, which is the control I use the most, I probably won't update it just because I like to have that feature. Let's just switch over to cine and just make sure that's working as it should. So that's also working really well, and I did check as well the hyperlapse as well. I'm doing a video on this soon, but hyperlapse in both vertical and horizontal formats work great. So yes, I would only really go and update this if you've had lots of problems with the last update. If you didn't, there's probably no need. This doesn't bring you anything. All you're going to do is lose that feature. So unless you've had problems, I wouldn't go and bother downloading and updating this. So just wait for the next one. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. If you did, make sure you share this with people, make sure you like and subscribe, it really helps, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye.